Have you changed the title?
Yeah, I've changed the title. And apologies, everyone who was watching episode 5. It did end very abruptly because the Streamlabs decided to go, I'm going to take a massive shit on your monitor and going to lock up and stop. But we're here for episode 6. Yeah, these are going to be a week apart, so yay! So,
if you didn't see some sort of an apology thing that went up almost straight afterwards, or
you can edit in
it hasn't been tacked on at the end. That's your content creator you're starting to pay attention to.
Yay! But either way, we were talking about episode 22 when that happened, and Rose was talking to Michael about Joseph and just kind of gauging, like, what do people think of Joseph, like, as a character, considering when they met him, he was just a god and a bit of a throwaway one at that.
Yeah.
To what he's turned into.
Yeah, he showed up, and I believe Boomer then went off to try and do his alchemy thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But Rose, do you want to ask the question you tried to ask?
Damn you, Danny!
You're not getting away with it.
I nearly did.
I'm sorry, like, I still can't get over the fact that so many people are going to be confused and, like, rewinding the previous thing to see if they've missed something.
Yeah.
I do apologise, thanks.
On episode 5, I am going to put a card, don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, that moment. Okay, yeah, so my question was, I'm really interested in this, and I know we've talked about it a little bit amongst ourselves. Do you really think he could be?
He has potential, yes. But we'll see.
Wise words.
I mean, context, that doesn't really make any sense. Well, that's a backstory thing for you two, isn't it?
Yes, that's the problem, is we are continuing to do the whole backstory mystery thing of not telling you guys, because you guys want to figure it out. Because
you have told us that you want to figure it out, like...
Yeah.
No, I'm going to love the fact that once this is all over, and the information, like, once you finally found out, the other players who are part of this group are going to go back and watch all the other episodes again, try and get the context of what's happened.
Yeah. So for anybody else, we'll have to keep it a time card in, like, the future one when it's explained, like, all the different times that we've asked questions to each other. They're just like, so what do you think about this? It'll make so much sense. It's like a puzzle all coming together. Also, it's fun for me. So sorry, guys.
More secrets.
I mean, I think he could be.
Like we said, has potential.
Even though his class is a little worrying, but I think we both said that class and race doesn't really have any impact on it now.
Wow, just because he's from a poor family. Wow.
Yeah,
no, so
unfortunately you set that one up.
I know, but I meant D&D class and D&D race.
I know exactly what you meant.
Why are you trying to bully me? Like, this is kind of a form of harassment.
Because I'm your DM.
Please send help, people.
Rose, get back
no,
in the
what
cage.
what I mean is, I think that when me and Michael were building the characters, we had very set things about. So they originally thought this, but then mindsets are now changing. There's been a couple of times where we've used, like, interesting wording about things, purposely trying to go down that avenue of tolerance. Does that make sense? I really do apologise. This is going to sound like a complete load of just nonsense until it makes sense, and then it will make a lot of sense. So sorry. This is a really confusing, like, thing for the watchers. Like, first of all, it cuts off halfway through, and then really cryptic.
Of course we're cryptic. It's us.
I still want to find out, like, what do you guys think's going on?
Not entirely sure what I know in character and out. Because out of character, you get a lot of conversations in the bedroom between yourself,
Okay.
where we learn stuff. So out of character, you've clearly been resurrected, or there's a whole like Doctor Who regeneration thing going on. But yeah, for why and what your job is, I guess.
Yep.
Not a clue.
But we'll leave that as it is for now. Adam.
As my distraction went.
Adam,
Yes.
I'll let you take lead on the next bit because this was all about Boomy.
Oh yes, when you got the book.
But go on, explain. What did you do?
Well, I ended up tracking down. Found this book from the. Where did we end up?
It was from the Frosselger
From
lab.
Yeah. Trying to track it down. Track down the place. He entered. With everyone thinking it was a laughing stock.
Yeah. In character, Boomer didn't really pick up on it, but
No.
out of character, they were pretty mean to him.
They were gave him like this children's book to start making stuff. Not think he'd ever come back.
Yeah, because it was a case of go do something and then come back.
Yeah.
And you were borderline laughed out of the building.
Oh yeah. But Boomer didn't care.
No,
He
it was what you wanted.
yeah, he was just happy he got a book. And then obviously looking for all the different recipes, we come up with the idea of invisible ink.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. There was a few. There was like the death candles and stuff.
I will point out, Cass is still waiting for her intellectual property rights on that one.
What, death candle?
No, invisible ink.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cass came up with the invisible ink and has seen nothing. No, I'm kidding. I am completely winding you up.
You got access to
Alright.
higher recipes now.
But to make the invisible ink, you did have to go and get a few ingredients.
Yeah, we end up going up to Penelope to try and get the ingredients.
And
To which
she suggested Displacer Beast blood.
you did.
Isn't this the first time that Boomer got shot down with Penelope as well?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, he was. Oh my god, do you guys not recognise flirting now? Like, I know I'm going to be a bit of a laughing stock
Yeah,
about my
we-
comments.
we
No,
Sorted
no,
that.
no. My issue is there's been so many interactions I can't remember.
Did he get shot down? I don't remember him getting shot down.
I don't remember that.
Because I know we were pushing him to like
Because
back
yeah,
for all the help.
because no,
he
Penelope,
usually brings.
Penelope is flirting with him. That's the point.
Hmm.
The same as she flirted with
Yeah,
Argyle
that's
and
what
even
she
Evan
said.
to a very light degree.
Yeah.
I still find it hilarious that Evan's getting with all the ladies, like, unintentionally. It's brilliant.
Ladies man.
He is, like, he ended up, like, with Clarissa on top of him, got to see Penelope's bedchambers. What was the other one? There's been another one since, hasn't there?
No, not since. I think the early one was the fact that there was the whole thing between you and Varg.
I'm sorry?
The other, the other paladin in our group. Before,
Yeah?
yes, there was the whole interesting plot between the two of you, and the fact that I slept in the same bedroom with you every night. I believe that was the third instance.
No! Cass is too old for that stuff, like...
Really? Because that one was what flirting looked like.
Yeah, but no one recognised it, so it was okay. No, there was another time when Evan got with another woman. I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't mean like literally got with. It was the bard on Saturday. I do apologise.
Oh, that one.
I'm getting sidetracked. Oh yeah, that bard was into you. Like, into you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Sorry, back on track. Are the alchemists meant to be so horrible?
They're very classist. Because Boomer come in looking grubby, like a peasant almost, and these these were borderline nobles and stuff. They were in prim shirts, dresses, and it was more like like when you go to a country club. This was more like the country club for alchemists. Yeah, this is like the intellectuals country club. They're snobs.
So,
They were very bad snobs.
I've never been to a country club. Just FYI.
But yeah, no, they were always to have a negative view on Boomer because of how Boomer is. They didn't really care. Boomer's what?
Best.
The best.
He is the best.
Oh, I
but
do.
He doesn't look it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, Cass obviously likes you all a great deal. Like, she thinks you're all brilliant people. But, yeah. Maybe they... I think the thing is, though, at the time as well, when we went to go and meet them, which is a little bit later on, I'm skipping ahead again. Displacer Beasts. Yeah, they were fun.
And you also
you
stole a baby.
I've still got that baby.
Yeah, you haven't fed it for about a week or two.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
can I just assume I'm feeding it, please? Like, I'll look after it. Like, I'll try and remember that in case we go in water or anything like that. But can we just assume that I'm feeding it? I don't have to go through every time that Cass goes to the toilet, so I don't think I have to do it about feeding a pet. Please.
Wow, Rose just went full panic mode then. Fuck me.
I'm panicking. Like, I understand, like, if I'm going to take it into a dangerous scenario, and I will tend to leave it places as well, but I think if we can just assume that I'm feeding it, we don't put down every meal.
Just imagine like an Moses basket.
No, she's made a
No,
papoose for it.
it's money. It's like in a... It's inside... So, I think Cass at the moment, because of when they went down to fight the Displacer Beast, is wearing, like, a pair of breeches and a little, very fancy coat with fur lining and everything. So she's currently got a papoose across her shoulder and the baby's inside. Because that seemed like the most logical way of carrying a child. I might have said it free, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, don't worry. If we go into like a fireball, I'm not going to cry if it's toast. Yeah. Just, if we can assume that I'm doing basic care.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. If you go into a fireball, it won't be toast. It'll be more like jerky.
Well, to be fair though, it's young and it's Displacer Beast, so more than likely it may accidentally activate its avoidance ability and just dodge the entire thing. You might get
Probably.
The thing is, it's strapped to your chest and somehow it'll come out alive whilst you'll be the one crispy.
Well, I'm more than happy for that. Like, I think if I'm intentionally doing something that could cause it harm, yes, but if we can just think that... it's like, you know, it's always the long joke about personal hygiene in D&D games, how no character has it because you never discuss going to the baths unless it's some kind of...
Scene, yeah.
Yeah, like specific scene. You assume that they're doing basic levels of hygiene or what they wouldn't want to spend time with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know about anything else, but you know what I mean. You don't go through every single meal unless you're doing a short rest on travel. I just think there's some things that happen in the background.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but is that okay? We can just assume, and everyone else is here as witness, that moving forward, I am doing basic levels of care. Feeding,
Rose, stop panicking.
I'm not panicking.
No, Rose, you've gone on for like 5 minutes. You're panicking. It's okay. I was just winding you up.
That's fine. I'll let you carry on about Boomer anyway.
Okay. But yeah, you collected the Displacer Beast parts, and after slaughtering its entire family, Cass stole one of the babies. Made sure it didn't see, at least, so you know. And you did actually create Invisible Ink. It was hard, and you failed the first time, but you did
Didn't
it.
you also have a hunting party after the beast as
Yeah.
well?
Uh-huh.
We did get in trouble with a hunting party after that.
Because the information was given to you on the... Because basically Penelope's got like a soft spot for you guys as a group, and offered you up the information that the hunting party had, because she had them come and buy preparation materials, and it was a case of, I know where they're going. If you're quick, you might just beat them to it, and you beat them to it by about an hour, and they caught you.
Yeah, I don't like them. Like, I don't know if that's... I think that's a Rose thing, it's not really a Cass thing. She's indifferent towards it, but... there's sometimes... I've noticed in this campaign, I don't know if anyone else has, but there's all this stuff about honour, which I think is a really interesting concept, Danny, and it's really good. But it's happened a lot. Like, you know, the people that were beating the crap out of each other outside of it when that tavern when we were in Idle more.
That was right at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, like I've noticed it happen a few times. Obviously, you know, the where was the other time? This one with the Displacer Beast, that was another thing of honour. Technically, we were taking away their honour. And there's just been like a few times where I've noticed this kind of running theme about honour happening. Yeah. So I was a bit like, oh, not this again. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, we've stolen your contract. Sorry, mate. Like, you know, first come, first serve. And it was like we stole their deal, and it was like we murdered their family. Like, exaggerated much? Is that just me? Please, somebody else talk.
I think because of being Cass and Rose, speaking of this from an outsider's perspective, I think it's a fair point. But when you consider that their entire political structure is run on this honor system, and like the power of your word means everything, it is a big deal to them. Like, even if it is something as silly as a contract,
it was also their livelihood. They've now got to either go spend more time tracking another group or go back empty-handed. Yeah. So I can see why they were annoyed at us.
Oh yeah, I understand more about the livelihood, like you said.
But those guys were pissed.
The honour, yeah.
Yeah, the honours. It's happened quite a few times. I don't know if it's just like you say, it's a political structure. It's an infrastructure based on honour and honour of, you know, words and actions.
Yeah, it's like if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, that's like the worst thing in the fucking world.
You've been hired to do a job. Yeah. That's now it's like verbal contract.
Without checking, I'm pretty sure the fight thing that you're on about was a muthral, which was basically like, you know, like when you like in ye old times when you used to challenge someone to a duel with pistols, walk 10 paces. It's basically that. Yeah. That's kind of what that was. Like, one had pissed off the other to a point where it's like, right, fuck it, hands now.
Outside, fist. Now.
Yeah, but the second that fight was ended and like the one person was incapacitated to a point, it was done. Like, that was it.
Done and over with.
And yeah, it's an intriguing structure because obviously it's so different to
Maltazora.
Yeah, well, not only that, but just pretty much any leadership structure and any political structure in general. You don't see that type of stuff, and it's interesting because I've always said there's a Nordic and warrior theme going throughout this entire continent.
Sorry?
I didn't. That was it. I was done.
Yeah, I just mean the comparisons with the other campaigns and the other countries that we know of.
Yes.
Because you obviously got, you know, like you say, this honour theme running through Brial. In Maltazora, it was more, I don't know, it wasn't honour. I know there was a civil war going on and then it changed completely, but it was your typical heroes mixed with more of a military theme.
Yeah, it was a military monarchy.
Yeah, exactly. It was less about honour and more whoever wins. It was victory. It wasn't honour. It was victory. Whereas Stalzia was all about subterfuge and sneaking around. And I think with
that was heavy politics.
But that was more. It wasn't really politics. It was spy work, and you know, sheer chaos. I'm not gonna lie. It was insane. I don't know how we survived as long as we did, to be honest.
But
because I'm poking the hornet's nest.
But yeah, no, that party that you guys encountered, like, I don't think none of you were ready for the level of pissed they were, and it's like...
that's why I stepped up almost immediately, because, like, they're going to be on only a level of annoyed.
Like,
Let's just
It was.
now.
I was gonna say, like, if it had carried on much longer, they were ready to throw hands.
Which is why I was like, when people kept like questioning and talking to them, I was like, shut the fuck up, they're leaving.
Yeah, no, they were getting pretty close, and you were actually really lucky because you know the traps that Deer had accidentally set off?
Yeah.
It was their traps, and they'd repositioned them to meet you guys on the way back. They were doing some sneaky, nasty shit, but you guys dodged them just about.
Because we were just like, we're not going that way.
Yeah, no, they were definitely, they were out for you guys. Like, they weren't happy. But yeah, you managed to sidestep that potential issue. Although, as far as you're aware, they said they were going to go and like let people know of the scaggy people.
Yeah, which is precisely why I was like, let's not be here.
Yeah.
Just go now, everybody.
And you, Boomer, you took use of Penelope and her facilities and helped.
Really?
Yeah.
Phrasing, Danny.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of how I phrased it, but either way, you took hold of Penelope and asked her for some help in the creation of your invisible ink, because when you had Greytail helping you were like, you were on the borderline of it, and you just needed that bit of extra impetus, just that little extra mindset. And her facilities had boosts to your capabilities as well as slowing of time, and a few hours went by as you and her worked together in tandem. I'm thinking more like, is it Ghost, the film? You know, the pottery scene? I'm kind of imagining something like that. But Boom was the little spoon in that one. That was kind of what I thought of, like, afterwards. You could just imagine as Boom is, like, messing with two beakers and, like Penelope just reaches around and just helps steady the hand or something.
Just the two of us.
Yeah. Making potions in the tent, just the two of you. But yeah, and she was asked, obviously she questioned why you were making them, and it got brought up the intention of going to the alchemists. The man you spoke with was Mr. Borgine, and basically you were there to impress. And you'd left. She bought to what only Boomer's known to himself, 6,000 gold. She paid for the one of the vials that she could then reverse engineer and stuff and then basically make herself. You guys went
also during this time.
Yes.
That Cass sent another message to.
Yes, you're
Argyle.
right. I'll let you talk about that a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So Argyle. So we sent a message to Argyle, and then whilst we were having the conversation back, Cass noticed a spell hadn't ended.
Yeah, the connection was still up.
So that was another panic for us.
Yeah, as basically. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, now you know why we're so paranoid. Like,
Because yeah, that's the beginning of the paranoia.
yeah, that's when it set in, like, properly. Because, I mean, me as Rose, I panicked to say the least, because I was like, oh god, this means that they have access to magic that we probably don't have access to yet. Since found out that it's Penelope, and then, yeah, I think I freaked out the rest of the party.
Well, you freaked out Greytail.
Yeah,
Because
she were actually very weird.
Yeah, because I was about to send. I was about to go and take the Derek out to go and get some food overnight and basically spend some time on Derek. You did that. I stayed back and stayed up all night to make sure that nothing happened. When the morning came, I said, "Great, you look after her." Went and did the.
You got your box first.
Oh yes,
Present.
we got the delivery.
Mm.
The delivery to our room and to. Did it have Cass's name on it, or is it just the occupants of the room?
No, it wasn't to your room. It was handed to you in the lobby, like the main room at the pub when you were having your breakfast.
I think they brought it over to the table. I was interested and wanted to look.
It didn't have a name or anything on, but you would assume that they must have had like some description of who to hand it to.
I thought I may be wrong, but I thought you said that it was directed to our room.
No,
It was
no,
given
no.
to us it was given to us at the table, but it was to the occupants of room.
No, oh shit, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Yeah, it was to the occupants of your room number, and that's why it was handed to you when you were at breakfast, because it was like, okay, there they are. Yeah, no, you're right. My mistake.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. And then I knew, and I think Evan did to an extent as well. It's like, oh, I know what that is. Cass at that point had completely shut down and wasn't doing anything. So it was just like, I'll take that. Had a quick look inside the card saying,
With regards.
seeing you soon. Yeah, with regards. And the 2 pieces of fur inside. So hid that from the party, put it away in my new bag of holding that Boomer had given me.
Oh yeah. With your symbol on it as well.
Yeah, with my symbol and 300 platinum in it. It's like, oh yeah, just yep, the debt's paid.
It was paid.
We so whilst everyone else was doing their stuff in town, I went and got Derek fed. And then Boomer, had you gone and was this at the same time you went and
Sort of.
because I was casted, it was afterwards.
Because you all went as a collective to go and cheer Boomer on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't, but Cass did go, so
Yeah.
and Cass was talking at the time, so that must have been afterwards, but yeah.
But yeah, with
People went and did certain things.
So with the
and then,
wiretapping, the sending of the 2 locks of hair and fur, which matched Argyle and Clarissa, being sent as, it was kind of designed to be a we know what you're up to game, because obviously Cass had contacted Argyle.
Yep.
You had found out the spell's relatively harmless once you go to sleep, and it was Penelope's own design.
Yep.
And
because I went and asked Penelope for box to try and hide the items in, and to keep them away from magical scrying of any kind.
And this
then
was
I got given a bag of holding that
And this
night.
is one thing we gleamed over as well. But you guys you asked about the lady that came in to purchase the large shipment of crystals, who was there when you guys were fleeing Kulmire.
Yeah. We were getting out of there.
And it matched the description of the girl that kidnapped your 2 friends. And this basically set Penelope on the hold the fucking phone and like looking into things. And because obviously she's got a close relationships with both her and you guys.
Yeah.
But the spell was harmless. Essentially, it's a wiretap, so if anything passes through, it latches on and it helps locate who, where, why, what.
Still, you couldn't have picked like a more perfect thing to get in Cass's head. Like, I don't know if it had come across at that point, but Cass was all about going into other people's minds, and then you literally did the opposite thing, and it freaked her the hell out. Because
I hadn't thought of it like that, but yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, that's it, because knowledge cleric abilities is all about. So I think it's level 6, which we've hit now.
Yes.
Like you can start manipulating people, even though she doesn't do it very often. She was actually planning to do it with Kavala. I didn't go into that because it didn't happen because Kavala had gone by that point. But if she was going to attack the party, she was going to use it, if that made sense. But yeah, Cass's whole deal is, and like some of the higher level stuff is literally like knowledge cleric.
Yeah,
manipulating people's minds.
But the most important thing, but the single most important thing that happened in this moment was, Boomer, you presented your magical invisible ink.
No, the most important thing was Evan nearly copying off of Penelope.
I mean,
I did get to her bedroom whilst she was
no, you never. It wasn't a bedroom. It was essentially a living room.
her private quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's further than Boomer ever got.
I was gonna say you got her in a living room in a nightie, like, you know. I suppose you'll take that as a win.
I do have to ask: is Boomer actually into her, or is it just play fun?
Just play fun, really.
Thought so. Damn it! No actual romances yet.
No, not yet.
Boom's love things going boom.
Yeah.
But one thing that Penelope's flirtatious behaviour with Boomer did help was sending a nice letter of recommendation to Mr. Bourguin. Basically outlining the halfling prodigy with good, ample and dexterous hands and a talent and a good brain.
Yeah.
Not on purpose now.
And
Sorry, you can't say that someone's got good, ample hands without us taking that as weird. I mean, this is low level for what it's comparison to another game that we're in, but yeah.
and that mixed with the invisible ink that did work on the premise that they were allowed to take a copy of the recipe for safe storage and use. You would be given membership into the Alchemist's Guild begrudgingly.
Yeah.
And you were given
I have a question on that, if that's okay.
Eh?
I just wanted to ask a question.
Go on.
Is the only reason that Boomer gave up all that stuff so he'd get into the school to earn more?
Yeah, because as he levels up, you get access to more recipes.
No, I was just wondering, because that's like, because we'd obviously spoken in an earlier session about like how useful that could be and how like expensive it could be, and then you gave it away to people you don't even like, mate. I was just sitting there going, that's like thousands and thousands of gold deal.
I think he's more interested in things that explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was to his disappointment that when he was first offered, you wasn't offered all the choices you were aware of, because you was offered the choices between Tinkerer and Apothecary, and I think a bit of Adam bled through at that point, because you kind of looked at me, as in Danny, and was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, where's my alchemist?
And with a little bit of persuasion, he again, they explained that it's uncouth, this style of alchemy, and they don't like using it here. And it was a hidden away book that was when you specifically requested it was pulled out and used. You were given your school bag with embossed of your name and theme.
Isn't this also where Persephone made a big show of herself as well?
Yes, you was.
Yep.
And was trying to
In the
steal
middle of
things.
all the snobs.
Yeah, like, I know Carl sometimes says that we have the wrong idea of his rogues, but I was getting the strong opinion that she was like trying to cause some anarchy a little bit. So everyone else said the same thing, where she was like,
No,
"Oh, this is like."
I was thinking it was more nerves. Because he just went on this rambling kind of first thing that comes to his head. Well, her head, sorry. It just kind of, it was just falling out of her. I thought it was just like nerves. It wanted to get out of that room as quickly as possible. Because
It was when they went to the lab. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that point. Yeah, when they were getting to the lab and she was like, "Oh, we can have a party in here and blow stuff up," and I was sitting there going, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe then it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we'd already established that we didn't like them because they were snobby towards Boomer. So it was kind of a partial revenge, maybe he was going for.
I think that was it. I think
And
if
she
we had
started
the
drinking by then.
Oh yeah, she has started drinking by then. We glossed over that fact about I think it was on the night when the sending spell got interfered with, that Persephone started trying to sneak alcohol.
you wouldn't let her get any, and then so she came and helped Great Ale and Boomer. Well, Great Ale was helping Boomer. She came with, and I had Molotov cocktails in my bag. So I just took the rag out and went, "There you go. There's some vodka. Knock yourself out." Which she then proceeded to knock herself out.
I mean,
Literally.
yeah.
I mean, I do have a quick question. Is it okay with her drinking alcohol?
It's Great Ale okay with it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, she's 20. I don't know elves. You keep telling me she's young, but she looks like a 20-year-old woman. So Great's not bothered, one way or the other.
I feel like a
It's
woman.
different though. Like Tabaxis can be only a few years old and still be at adulthood.
Is it? I'm not actually sure. I think don't they age the same as?
I know Aarakocra are young.
Aarakocra only live like 11 years or something.
So yeah, when they're like 6
Off the top of my head, I believe they're the same as humans. Don't we look
They
it up?
might be. Yeah, I just find it funny that the party doesn't realise that they're essentially giving a toddler booze.
No, well, yeah.
And I know they've got a lot of, associations with accents and everything, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on Elvish law when the drinking age kicks in, but I know obviously Evan doesn't mind it too much because he said, like she's
If you're old enough to say it, you're old enough to drink it.
No, I don't think it's that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, obviously. It seems like it's more like she needs to learn from her mistakes or she's going to continue to fight back, which is why Gus has now taken a step back and gone, you might be right. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things of just like, okay, teenage rebellion. If you're going for anything similar to the teenage rebellion of just like, oh, mum and dad say I can't, so I'm going to do it more, they just go, right, well, we've told you not to. Find out why. Find out why we told you not to. Are you regretting your choices now? Maybe a little.
That's it. Cass listened to Evan and taking a step back. It'd be. Hopefully, she doesn't become an alcoholic. Because I mean, it does make sense as well. With I know Cass isn't not Cass. Carl isn't here to defend himself at the moment. But I do quite like the rebellion that's going on. It makes sense as well because the fact that she's just. I think this is only a week or two later after finding out that her boyfriend's gone walkabout.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
Yeah, but it was also good, like obviously with Evan speaking to Penelope, not Persephone. Penelope's uprooted and went missing. As you notice that the stall that she normally mans, the magic shop, the inquisitive, bright, lovely bubble of fun, was not there. Which piqued a couple of people's interests, because she's usually there every day, and even if it's not her, it's one of her clones.
Did she not tell us she was going away for a couple of?
I think she said she was going away for a while.
It was,
We were told.
I think it was when you tried to reach out to her. She
Yes,
basically
I
said,
didn't think of it as that.
I thought she told Evan.
I think she told Evan.
We were aware that she was going for a few days.
"Oh, was it?"
Yeah.
You may have only told me and I passed it on, but yeah.
Okay, I didn't remember exactly.
I really like Penelope, but I don't see her as bubbly and fun. She seemed like that way in the beginning, but now it's more like she's actually a really good ally for us. Like, she just seems capable and intelligent and, fun in some cases, but the majority of the times that we've experienced with her seems to be more along the capable route. She seems accomplished. Do you know what I mean? Rather than some cute, quirky little kid.
Well, I mean, you don't get to where you don't get to where she is without being somewhat capable.
I just think you gotta. I know she's fun and everything, but I see her as more than just being fun. I don't know. Is anyone else got the same thing? I don't see her as being like this cute, bubbly little girl. Does that make sense? I don't know if that might have been the way that you were describing her or whatever, but yeah, she's unusual.
She has the odd moment, but yeah, I've always seen her as a bit more professional. She knows what's going on.
Exactly. Very intelligent, useful.
Yeah.
Powerful, which is kind of what we need in our like on our side, you know. Which is why I think Evan's gone to her a few times. I mean, would you agree, Michael?
Yeah, well, it was just one of those things of just like, right, when we need someone to speak to, and she's
someone who knows about magic, and she's the best person, and we can find her in literally any town.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just such an asset.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like her as well, and I think her personality, though, she's actually one of my favourite NPCs of yours, Dennis, so far. That sounds really shady. Yeah, no, I really like her. Her and Joseph, I think, are my two favourite NPCs.
Okay, I mean, to be fair, she's my favourite just because she's really interesting with the fact that she's literally in every single town. There's literally a dozen of her. Well, there's a dozen clones and her, so there's 13 of her.
Well, she's not only is she intriguing and like the ability she has, she's really useful to us, gives us a lot of support, but also like, what's the best way of explaining it? I like the little touches, like you said, of this like humor paired with that kind of seriousness. I think it makes such an interesting character archetype.
Yeah.
Rather than just the cookie wizard that will give you information and give you. She's more than a shopkeeper NPC. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, she was always meant to be something like that, but obviously
she's got a working personality, and then stuff that kind of spills over from her casual self.
She's a person. Do you know what I mean? She's multi-layered. She's a person. Same with Joseph as well. I know he was meant to be just an NPC, but he seems to have multiple layers, and I find that more intriguing about NPCs because I think sometimes you get your throwaway ones, haven't you, that you just walk up and encounter, but those two I just think have been the most intriguing with storylines that will also kind of walk alongside our own, rather than just come into the story and go back out again. I don't know if I'm going too deep into it, but I like Penelope. I think she's awesome.
Interesting. But yeah, she was off doing some work of her own, and would be gone for about a week or so before you guys could get a hold of her again. And it was at this point you guys took a job to go up to Colossal Taiga, which you did via Derek.
Yep.
It was to deliver some trade goods. You guys were going to get paid fairly handsomely for it as well, and off you guys popped.
Got money.
Huh?
I'm sorry. I really loved getting some money.
Well, Rose, before we get to talk about the money, do you want to talk about your visitor on the boat?
Yeah. I want to say a few choice words, but
go on then.
I want to ensure that I'm not gonna swear. No.
Do you want me to do it for you?
Be my guest.
You was a bitch.
You's a bitch.
Yeah, because when it first was happening, I thought she teleported into her room, and I know it was.
We know what happened afterwards.
Safe. I mean, it was a safe assumption.
Well, this is it, and it felt.
Actually, given the fact that Derek lurched when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a physical shove to the boat. Was there a noise?
No.
I remember if there was a noise.
No.
It was just he just lurched.
Well, that's it, because I was in the room by myself with her, but you guys were on the top deck and still noticed that she'd arrived on the ship. So there must have been something physical to have done it. But we know later on, like, what had happened.
Well, we went to the top deck. Well, I went to the top deck, and Evan and I can't remember who it was, Boomer maybe. And the Derek told us that he can feel somebody else in Cassie's room. So we all then ran down, and we were listening outside the door, just seeing how much of a threat, and do we intervene?
So before I go through what I think, what did you guys think sitting there while the conversation was going?
Shit, half the secrets are coming out.
Yeah.
Secrets
That's
are
when we
coming out.
learned.
Yeah, secrets are coming out at the wrong time.
Oh, about for the rest of the group now find out what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was how much. Okay. It was just how much everything was happening at the time. It was just like, just how much information. Because the one thing I don't think we've truly considered is the fact that they were able to find out where the person was who cast the spell, what the spell was, and who cast the spell. And I don't know to how much detail that spell went.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have this question, right? Because I get we were all kind of focusing on the teleportation afterwards and how it was like, you know, trying to pinpoint a speck of dust on a moon in the 30th galaxy, like pretty much the chances of her landing exactly where she was going to be. But even then, right, how is it possible that she was on a dinghy next to us? Because
She wasn't. She was flying above.
Oh, was
it's
she?
concentration spell.
Broom.
There are many ways around that.
Flying carpet, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think that was it because I was like.
But remember
then how
that
did
was
she
an
know
out
where
of.
we were
But
along the
remember
coastline?
all that stuff post session was an out of character thing anyway.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
Oh yeah, this is it. Like this is outside of character, like completely, like obviously. But yeah, no, because I was thinking on it, and I was like, how the hell did she find where we were on that route to be able to encounter us at that exact time? Like, has she been following us for days? Like, that's a bit of
No.
intensive stalking for just some people that you kind of knocked into. And also, she was
No.
given the big I am, like we were practically nothing. And it's like, oh, we must be something for you to come all this way to find us.
Yeah, as it turns out, I don't think you might have noticed, but on the right hand side at the time, about 4 or 5 D20s were rolled.
Yeah.
2 of them were real low numbers. So it's my meta assumption that you were being scryed on.
Yeah. I get that. I don't know with scrying for me. Scrying is always one of those interesting ones because as a DM myself, it's kind of like I get why Danny was rolling for me. Does that make sense? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to hide that it's happening, and you're trying to make it be a big part of the story. But then it's a complex one. I think it's like one of those because in every other circumstance, you let the players roll for themselves. But it's a weird one. Yeah.
Does the target get a roll for scrying?
That's assuming Michael's correct.
True.
But the problem is, though, if you succeed, and you said that there were 5, technically it would have been the day before it would be the day that we arrived because it's a 5-day trip. But that's a different story because it then lasts for 24 hours afterwards. So, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey,
bullshit.
DM for armor, you know? It's like one of those.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, no, I found it quite fun. Don't get me wrong, it freaked me out, put me on the spot and everything, but it was really nice to have that kind of battle of wits. Does that make sense? For Cass to be who Cass is, essentially. But no, I'm really interested because you guys were sitting there listening at the door. What did you think?
I had several moments where I was mouthing basically in twin speech exactly what you were saying. But there was a few things where I was also like, it's like, moments like, that's really good, yeah, I like that. And then there was other ones like, shut up, for God's sakes. Too much,
yeah.
too much. You're sharing too much.
No, I know, but that's one of them things. I think at the time, because I was put on the spot, I was having to think on my feet quite quickly. Danny likes to do this a lot to me, and it freaks me out, but
I don't do
enjoy
anything.
it. Okay then, I want to ask the rest of the party, and you can be completely honest, and I'm not going to take offence of it. Who do you think won the Battle of Wits? I don't know if they're trying not to offend you or I, Danny.
Should we just leave them to it?
The political answer would be I'd have to rewatch it because I don't really remember how much was said and what back and forth.
Rewatch, but from my point of view, neither.
She left.
She left, but I'm guessing that's also the time limit on it.
That was also after.
Wow.
That was also after she made Cass say please.
Yeah. Like I said,
you did concede the please, yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, At the end of the day, it was neither because no points were scored really.
Yeah, no hits were made, nor really any dodges because there was no hits. It was just kind of a lot of flailing.
Yeah.
I can agree to that. That yeah, it was kind of like a stalemate.
Why can't you agree that Cass had won if Cass had actually won?
It was just
I'm
two.
sorry,
It was just no. It was just two. It was just two young girls having handbags. That's all it was.
Oh no! The way that I saw it, so this is probably me because as one of the characters, it seemed like more there was a lot that wasn't said. Does that make sense? It was all very political, aimed, and it was trying to take the lead. So like trying to get more ground than the other one. So you're taking a step forward, but that person pushes you back. So I agree completely if it was, that they were meeting in the middle because we were kind of going backwards and forwards. Does that make sense? It's real interesting. But yeah, she can burn in hell. I hate her. Like, seriously. She doesn't know who she's messing with.
But
anyway.
I think the only problem is you keep going. Yeah, it's for me. I keep hearing you say that. It's like she doesn't know who she's messing with, and I keep going like, yeah, well, you aren't who you think you are.
No, I don't mean it from the ability and power kind of point of view.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to you outside of this, Michael, about what I've been thinking. I'm sorry, Danny, but yeah, sorry.
But she's not.
I just mean more so like I don't want to give away what I'm thinking because I want it to be interesting when we're actually in the story, and we are currently being recorded, and I don't want to give stuff away. Does that make sense?
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah. Not that we plan. It's not all scripted, guys. I promise. You know.
If you did try and script something, it would go out the window faster than anything else.
Oh my god, we've tried to script so many things, and it just not like script as in like we have to say these things exactly.
Plan things.
You make plans, but everybody knows in every D&D game you start with a plan, it goes out the window in 5 seconds because something changes. Because somebody throws an ice knife when they're meant to be setting the tents on fire, or
I was going to say, yeah, even combat you can't plan.
Exactly. You can try your hardest, but you'd be like, what I'll do is I'll
can plan, but everybody else has their own ideas.
You'll get 3 turns in and then it won't work anymore.
Look at sorry, this is out of campaign thing, but look at the fight in Maltazora in the last fight when we were, not the one against Zariel, but the one just before that, where we were like, we planned for an entire session, right, guys, and it was like, really in depth, and then we got 3 seconds into it, and I think it was as soon as Magog had shot at the big gem, and we dropped the fortress on it, which I've now found out you can't actually do, but meh, it's a bit long.
It was fun.
Bit late now. Rule of cool.
Rule of cool, exactly. Rule of cool sometimes does take precedence. Not yet, because none of us have done anything cool in this campaign, but we're not there yet.
Ooh. Still
learning and finding our feet. But yeah, apparently you're meant to place it on the ground, it says in the item. Technically, it did hit the ground.
Yeah,
it just
we spawned it in the mid-air.
But no,
technically, you can also do it off like rocks or something, so you can make it horizontal. So if that's the case, we just need to throw a stone up. Yeah,
yes.
We just need to throw a stone up, throw it at the stone, let it, then let it plummet.
Yeah, that would work just as well, because that's technically the ground, because it's made of earth.
Well, it's open to interpretation, though, I think, because obviously a round takes 6 seconds. So you could say, and it also does 10d10 when it shoves people out of the way. So it might not have been crushed under it, but as soon as it hit the ground, it would have pushed everything round them, because it happens in like a split second. Technically, it would have hit the ground at the same time as causing a lot of damage to people, so meh.
I like it. But
technicality.
So yeah, the Solar Strands here was an interesting thing.
It was a good try. Wasn't good, but
no, I mean, like I fucking apologise to you guys after, because I just felt the whole delivery of that in that session. I just hated that session so bad, did not like it. I would not have changed what happened. I just felt that my delivery of it was fucking. Ugh.
No, I
know, but the thing is, you know me, I hold fucking stupidly high standards to myself.
I was thinking about it after, because obviously we were talking like with Danny, and I was like, you really don't have to mind about it, because at the end of the day, it was meant to happen that way. And I think, despite hating Solar, she's a really good villain. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, like I said, I would not have changed how I did it. It was just how the pacing and how I introduced things. I just didn't like that. The actual elements, I didn't have an issue with. You know what I mean?
It was the spacing between things, wasn't it? So we were going.
Yeah.
We didn't spend a lot of time traveling.
It just felt so imbalanced. I didn't like it, but yeah.
No.
So,
I can imagine Solar would be a really interesting ally if it is that we defeat them and then decide that she's going to go in for penance. Because
do a Cravala with her.
Yeah, I kind of am tempted to. I don't know about the rest of the party, but yeah, I feel like I really don't like this whole magic is bad thing, which is why I brought it up in last session, which we'll probably get onto. But yeah.
Well, this is the interesting thing, because of the anti-magic thing. You guys have basically got two major choices. Do you go with the establishment despite its flaws, or do you join the freedom fighters that are doing very questionable things? And that's the beauty of such a big grey area. And obviously, as it stands, you've got more ties with the establishment, but that's because you haven't really had more of an interaction outside of them fucking you over with the other side.
It is kind of creating an interesting turmoil in Cass, because
that's the point. There's not a good or a bad side. It's just two sides. They're grey.
Well, technically, because obviously I don't want to go too in depth. This will make a lot more sense when it's revealed about Cass or Evan. But establishment, but for good, like it's literally like two sides of. Cass is always meant to be, the good one, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And technically now she's kind of like sitting, well, that's the establishment and it's been going for so long and these people have technically been wrecking this country, but at the same time they're being persecuted rather than supported and helped. Maybe they could do better. And it's creating this kind of like, she's flip-flopping between the two quite a lot at the moment. What about the rest of you guys?
It's an interesting query.
The kidnapping people, they're the villain. And also as the only non-magic user, Grey's not really bothered that magic is outlawed.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I don't like this renegade group. They're bad.
Yeah.
But they are not every magic user within the country. Well, there's got to be a few good eggs out there that are kind of buried beneath, or that are kind of hiding in the closet, and or there's ones overseas, because I think Danny, you explained a lot of them had moved overseas. I meant more.
Yes.
Do you think it should stick with This is out of character rather than characters, because in characters we'll probably find it in
Well,
game.
yeah, because one of the interesting revelations that obviously you guys got in the last episode, which we won't be touching on in this episode because we're at pretty much at the end of our time. But it's like, I know one of the things is a lot of you guys were saying, but why haven't the arcane users just left? Like, surely if it's this bad, go. And it's kind of interesting, obviously, to start peeling back the why.
I just mean it's technically persecution of somebody because they've got certain abilities. So, yeah, I'm just meaning because it's kind of interesting, the association. I mean, Michael, because obviously, shared backstory. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. It is kind of like, oh, well, what do we do in this situation?
Because technically we know from our stories that revolution is negative from our point of view, but they're doing a negative thing for the right reasons? Like, how does it work? Like, I don't know, because even like in our home country, it's not really viewed badly, it's just kind of pitied. There's a secret little nugget of information, but some of us know about Armdia. It's cool. But yeah, I don't know. What about you, Boomer, as an actual arcane user?
Meh.
Adam?
We've been just talking to ourselves and Danny stopped the recording ages ago.
No.
No.
Adam, we can't hear you.
You're muted.
Oh.
What are you doing, Liam?
Boom.
Liam's here and Dia's a magic user. Same question.
So yeah,
Same though, mine's all natural.
True. Yeah. Or would that count in?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
I wasn't muted or anything though.
If from what you guys have seen, if the magic is natural, like sorcerers, druids, or given by a higher power, that seems to be okay. Like bards, druids, and stuff, because it's more natural, and sorcerers, clerics, paladins, warlocks, it's given. They're seen as okay.
Specifically wizards.
And to an extent artificers, but they're harder to find because they hide it through their ingenuity.
Yeah, they're hard.
And
So
the reason why is
specifically-
because it's self-taught. They see it as theft and yeah.
so if Boomer was to cast a spell
Yep.
in front of someone, oh, you've been very lucky, Adam.
The reason being because it's not been shown in a way that's obvious.
He has been hiding every time
I mean,
he
important
casts magic. He goes off to the room and does it.
No. When he's cast spells in front of people, it's not obvious of his arcane background. Like, it could be. He's been looked at, but they're
I'm a
unsure.
builder.
Exactly, he builds things.
Or they could be whacking him hammer out.
I still think, Adam, it's worth keeping an eye out for that. Like, I know it could be that it could be interpreted differently, but instead of it being interpreted differently, just keep an eye out so that,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
Though, to be honest, though, it was in Colossal Taker last session, and somebody was whipping around dancing lights and whatnot, and clearly arcane spells.
Yeah.
Apparently, bardic magic is natural.
It's innate.
No, it's the manipulation of music to create words. They're
and
basically
study.
wizards without the spell book.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently that's considered natural.
Also, the fact is, she also, even if it wasn't the case, she's also managed to gain herself
Hero
an
status.
a hero status. So
I
she's
am
got, so she's basically got an exclusion from it.
Diplomatic
Also,
immunity.
Basically, yeah.
Also, given the fact that it's happening in Colossal Tager, which is the only international
Yes.
port city,
Yes.
also would provide some lenience, I would say.
A bit of leeway.
Tolerance to
travellers.
outsiders, yeah. No,
Yeah,
that
it's like-
it does make sense, yeah.
Outsiders would come to the country, yeah.
Got a quick question. Do you just really hate Morgan that much from last campaign, Danny? Is that why you outlawed wizards?
Who?
Morgan!
Oh, I thought you said
The wizard.
Hagen. I was going to say, like, what? No.
Morgan does.
Morgan.
No,
Morgan
no.
and Dars.
Is that the next duo characters coming to our screens? Hog and Das.
I am not that much. I don't do that.
But no, I don't hate Morgan. It's just this continent was always going to be the next campaign setting, and it always had that. It's always had that bias from the get-go. I built this country on that, well, this continent on that premise. The entire continent has it.
Rose, please tell me the thought went through your head too. Thank you.
What?
You built this continent.
Ugh.
Thank you.
I'm going to end the episode there. On that note. We will be taking a minor break, though, from recording these, because literally we're 2 episodes... Because like we're finishing at episode 25 here. We've only got 26 and 7 as it stands to talk about. So what we'll do is we'll wait until there's 5 episodes, and then we'll try and talk about those in like the 7th episode.
If we haven't already covered most of them in the meantime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But after this episode is released on YouTube, the next week there will be an episode, the NPC TTT of Clarissa and Argyle.
So we have to wait 3 weeks.
Yes,
Oh,
we do.
Yes.
Because if you haven't Rose, not figured out yet, Danny is not nice.
Fuck you. But no, so yeah, so for you guys watching on YouTube, you'll be getting that next week.
Rest of us,
3 weeks.
see you then.
Hell yeah. Ta-da,
Bye.